You don't ask for higher limits, you earn them through your behavior. That's what it boils down to. You don't ask for them, you earn it. The bank's gonna let you know. You stop chasing approvals and you start building leverage. But it's really because that's the major first mechanism that most of us get exposed to accessing the bank. But we spend a lot of time here because credit limits and credit cards is the bank's first unbacked exposure. So you get approved. 10, maybe 20,000, maybe even higher. Then you go for a credit limit increase and they say no. And what most people don't get is this. Getting approved versus getting a credit limit increase are two totally different games. The behavior that gets you in the bank is not the same behavior that gets the bank to trust you with more. You get that $25,000 with Navy Federal, you get that $20,000 with Chase, $15,000 with PNC, and you're excited. Great starting limit. You can do something with that. 3 months later, 4 months later, you go for your credit limit increase. They say no, they don't approve you. And you're trying to get to that $80,000 max exposure with Navy Federal. They say Chase personal calls go up to 50,000. You're trying to get to these numbers because you're graduating your access. More access, better capacity, the more you can go out in the economy and accomplish, the more wealth you can build, the more you can expand into businesses, etc. That's what we're here to break down on this channel in this video today. We need to figure out what behaviors get us in the door with great approvals, but how do we continue to scale access to tap those maximum exposure levels? That's what we need to figure out so we can continue to have maximum access to these banks, make these relationships profitable, and go out and participate in the economy at the effective scale that allows us to build real wealth. So let's talk about it for a second, because most people think if they have a good credit score, a good income, and no late payments, they should automatically qualify for higher limits. That's not how banks actually work. This is the tricky part, right? That's how you get approved. That's not how you grow. That's the baseline, and we're gonna break that down. So the initial approval is about whether the bank trusts you enough to start, okay? A credit limit increase is about whether you've proven you can handle more. And you're gonna see as this video expands, how those two become distinct from each other. So initial approvals, let's talk about that for a second. What gets you approved? Think credit scores, that's an entry filter. I talk about that a lot on this channel. Credit score gets a lot of attention for valuable reasons, but it's an entry filter. It's just a baseline number that gives an indication of how you've behaved financially with your obligations, but it really allows banks to work off scale. If I get, if I'm a regular size to a large size bank, I'm getting tens of thousands of applications, maybe even on a daily or weekly basis. I need something to weed out and give a baseline criteria of who's even worth looking at. That's credit scores. Income, capacity signal. Me extending you a higher limit credit card if I'm a financial institution, you having the ability to pay that card back on a regular basis, or in a credit card's case, have the income to even have the expenses for it to make sense. A lot of people also think about payments when they think about income, but if you have 20, 25,000 in income, and I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way, because there's some people with that income, but what do you think your spending capacity is if you're staying above water? It's not very high. Credit card companies are looking at that saying, okay, I don't have a blank check to write credit limits out. So if I have to pick between somebody with 20,000 and somebody with 60,000, who's gonna be the one I'm gonna get the most interchange fees off of and expenses and other benefits as the bank, as the card issuer, right? Credit history, baseline risk. Diving into the profile, looking under the hood of the credit score and saying, okay, based on what you've done with these other trade lines on your report, this determines the base level of risk of whether or not you look favorable or you look like you could be a high risk based on previous behavior and other relationships you've had. Low utilization is a discipline indicator. So if other cards on your report are showing up, you've been keeping a low to zero balance on them, that's an indicator that you are, at least from the outside looking in, that you are disciplined and that you're managing the limits you have available effectively, okay? This is surface level trust. Very important to understand that. Everything I just laid out is surface level trust. The bank is saying, we'll give you a shot. And that shot might be nice, $10, $15, $20, $25,000, depending on your capacity and other variables and factors. It could be a nice start. But why would you get denied for the credit limit increase? This is where the game starts to change. So what are banks really tracking? All right. Usage behavior. Let's talk about it for a second. If you're not using the limit, why would I increase it? A lot of people have this problem. Some of my pioneers, you might be sitting up there thinking like, oh, this is basic. It's not basic for a lot of people. A lot of people have a hard time understanding that once you get approved for that card, you have to put effective and responsible levels of spend on that card. The bank is looking to make money. And again, even though these banks have deep pockets, they don't have a blank check. So them extending you a certain limit is them not extending somebody else a certain limit. Keep that in mind. Payment behavior is not just on-time payments. This is another problem that a lot of people have. I paid on time, that's it. No, my friend, that's not it. Banks are looking at several other metrics about your payment activity. Let's look at it for a second. Are you paying in full? Are you revolving? Are you predictable? So basically, are you a transactor or are you a revolver? And is the behavior you're displaying with your payments predictable? Or do things look a little shaky? You're paying so much here, so much there, minimum payment here, higher amount there, pay it off in full, minimum payment. What's going on? What's the story behind it? Cash flow patterns, another sleeper. Deposit versus spending, stability of income, account movement. So you have to think in this scenario, what does it look like from the cash flow that's gonna pay off this credit card is happening in my checking account, generally speaking, if you stop and think about it. The financial institution is sitting there thinking, okay, well, yeah, your credit card activity may be fine, but your checking account is a mess. You're overdrawn on a regular basis, your cash flow is off, you're making a lot of withdrawals, your deposits are inconsistent. Maybe the income you have coming in isn't stable, it isn't predictable. It's not that every week, every 2 week ordeal. Account movement is how's money moving in and out? Is it erratic? Is there signs of risk, instability? That's the same money right here that's gonna pay this credit card. So the bank's looking at the bigger picture. So when you think about it, let's think about actual institutions that we're all working with or looking to work with. You think American Express internal risk models. Think about those. Chase, PNC relationship scoring. We know that there's internal scoring mechanisms there. Navy Federal's internal behavior tracking that we know is the internal score. These are institutions that we are all familiar with, exposed to, or striving to work with. We know now it's the cat is out of the bag. There's risk models, there's internal scoring, there's segments. These banks are paying attention and they're bucketing us off. So we have to behave effectively to be in the right segment, to have the high score, to be in the right place, to get further access to more limits. So let's talk about the next bullet point of relationship depth. Checking accounts, savings, investments, and other multiple products that you could be using. Why is this important? It shows depth in relationship. That's sticky. That's exactly what banks are looking for. In banking, we call it total wallet. That's a term we use internally to discuss this client is only using us as a secondary bank. They're parking some cash over here. They're not spending. They have no investments here. They're not borrowing from here, etc. That matters to banks a lot because that's a lot of data that they can't track. And it's also profit that they can't make. That's also relationship profit that they don't have. Again, I always tell you, behavior, the more data they have access to, the better they can assess risk and the better chance you have of looking risk favorable or low risk. Banks are looking to minimize risk and maximize profit. I've been saying that since this channel's inception in 2022. So this is important. Relationship depth allows them to accomplish both of those goals. I can get enough insight on your behavior to know the real risk level, and I got enough of your relationship or your total wallet to maximize profit of the relationship. So keep that in mind. At this stage, your credit score matters less than your behavior inside the bank. When you go for that credit limit increase as you've been owning that card for a while, yeah, your credit score is still a threshold, but it's gonna be all of the behaviors and functions that are really gonna make the determination of where you stand, which is why you might not have the same score when you started as when you go for the limit increase, as in it could be lower, but your behavior's been great and they give you a great increase. Your score could be higher and you can either get denied or get a baby credit limit increase. It's possible. So the next factor we're gonna look at is, let's take a look and break down the unique personality behaviors of each financial institution, all right? So we know American Express, huge on spending and payment behavior. Charge card kings, right? They wanna see great spending and they wanna see consistent, large bulk, if not in full payments. That is American Express to the T. Reward heavy usage and consistency. American Express, there's a reason the majority of American Express card holders, especially platinum card holders, tend to be 50, 60 plus. You're still very much actively engaged in the economic system. You're spending money, you're engaged, but you are usually very established in your career, wherever you're at, making good money. You have very, very significant, consistent expenses. And you usually have the income and the capacity to pay it off. There's a reason that American Express sits heavier with the older crowd or, the more seasoned crowd. So next is Navy Federal. Relationship heavy, internal score is very important. They are not as big on how much you're spending per se. Yes, you need to use the card. Payment activity matters, But if you're paying on time, that one's kind of like, But when it comes to relationship depth, level of engagement, card usage and behavior, other products you're engaging with, these different factors matter a lot to Navy Federal. Are you exercising this relationship in full? You don't have to spend a ton of money on a card, as long as you're making on-time payments. You can even manage with the utilization. I've noticed that from data points that Navy Federal is kind of flexible with utilization. You might be a little higher than you can be at other banks sometimes. That's fine if the overall picture of your behavior and relationship depth is intact, right? So it's very important that we keep that in mind. PNC Bank, it's another one of my favorites. I just shot a video talking about how I got first card I pulled with them. I got a $22,500 approval with them. And I had it with a small savings account. Great financial institution, conservative up front. I had to bank with them for a while, likely played a big role in me getting that approval, but expands based on trust over time. So I'll let you know how my credit limit increase process goes with PNC. That'll continue to be a project on this channel. But my first approval was $22,500. I had good capacity, good score, good credit profile, and I had behavior mechanisms showing internally already. I had money going in consistently, nothing really coming out at this time. And I laid a baseline that things were stable for me and predictable for a very significant window of time, north of a year and a half, maybe even close, knocking on 2 years. Not saying you have to do it that long, but you do want to show stable, consistent behavior. It doesn't even have to be a high activity level, as in tens of thousands of dollars flowing through. You can go a long way with $40 and $50 transfers on a bi-weekly or monthly basis with a bank. You would be surprised. PenFed, another one of our favorites on this channel. Data-driven, cautious with growth, wants consistency. That's something that overall, we're talking high-level behavior that's unique to each bank. That's something with PenFed that we've studied and we figured out. I just shot a really popular video relative to my channel on PenFed, maybe about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago at the time of this recording, or 2 or 3 weeks time of this recording. But we talked about what it takes to build a healthy relationship with them and to scale with them, though they're very cautious over time with you. So these are just examples of financial institutions we all know and love or intend to work with that have their own little nuances in their behavior. And it's very important for us to understand that. So most people get approved and then they go quiet. You can't do that. That's just the beginning. Even if you got a really sweet starting limit, it's just the beginning of that relationship. Is the initial access. They don't use the card, they don't build the relationship, and then they are confused when the bank says no. You can't be. From the bank's perspective, you didn't prove anything. You can't allow that initial access to get you like kicked up. I'm good. I'm good. I'm in the door. I got a nice $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 limit. I'm good. No, that's not, you literally just got your foot in the door. Literally. And at some point in time, you're going to be looking to scale that access and you're not going to be then showing the bank anything. So let's talk about a simple, actionable framework to make sure that we can master this. We know we have a good idea what it takes to get that initial starting limit going. We talked about that. What behavior mechanisms and overviews and data points can almost anybody apply to get the maximum credit limit increases on a consistent basis? Let's talk about it. Use the card consistently. Slow, controlled utilization. Pay strategically, not randomly. Build relationships with that bank. Expand. Tap into the other resources they have available. Even if, again, I've been pushing this a lot, digital engagement. Activate the credit monitoring, the budgeting tools. Tie in some external accounts. Use the tools they have available. Let patterns develop before requesting an increase. Very important. Something that my pioneers that's really been on this road with me since I started or very early on know. When I do reviews of my personal card app, my application stories and my credit limit increase stories with my cards and my banks, you will notice I'm extremely patient. I might have the ability on paper to go back to Amex or Navy Federal every 90 days for a limit increase. I still wait 4 or 5 or 6 months. I could have applied for PNC Bank probably 3 to 6 months into that relationship and got a decent starting limit. I waited over a year and a half. Now that's my story. I'm not saying it has to be quite that extreme, but I am telling you, patience pays with these institutions. Do not rush just because the data points are out there that you can technically apply for it in 90 days or 6 months. You go out when in essence you haven't done enough. If you're patient, you show good behavior, you go beyond those benchmarks of when you could technically apply again, they will reward you. You're showing stability, strategy, all right? Very important. You don't ask for higher limits, you earn them through your behavior. That's what it boils down to. You don't ask for them, you earn it. The bank's gonna let you know, all right? So if you understand this, you stop chasing approvals and you start building leverage. This channel is about access. We talk about credit limits a lot, but it's really because that's the major first mechanism that most of us get exposed to accessing the bank, and the first litmus test on how we're developing a relationship with that bank. It's not because that's all we got to talk about on this channel at all. But we spend a lot of time here because credit limits and credit cards is the bank's first unbacked exposure. That money's not collateralized. You can go max that card out and never come back. That is a huge trust mechanism. The majority of the other things you go for with a bank, when you start going for real business funding, real estate funding, there's a good chance some collateral is going to be behind it. When you're getting credit cards, that's a totally different level of exposure with a bank. It's a great litmus test of where you stand and how you're navigating that relationship. So because the goal isn't just to get approvals, it's to keep expanding access. That's what this is about. Comment down below the word access. Let me know that you made it to the end of the video, and comment down below the word access, because I want to know that you understand we're not doing this to be cute. We're not doing it for vanity metrics. We're doing this because we're looking to finally get the level of access that many of us have been denied for generations. We want to get our feet in the door, and we want to be able to literally get our feet all over the house. Like, we're not looking to just get in the door and be cute, or like a peek in and then get the door closed on us before we can even get a good look at the chandeliers. Like, we are looking to get a full-scale tour and offerings when we get in. So comment access down below. Let me know your most recent approval, and then let me know your most recent credit limit increase, and complement that to what I covered in the video. What do you think you did right for the credit limit increase you recently attained? If you have not gotten approved, or if you got denied for a credit limit increase, comment down below and let me know what you think you missed that you may have gotten from this video that can add value. To all my pioneers, welcome back. To my new viewers, welcome in. For those of you who happen to be new to the channel and have stuck it out this far, means you got value. I am a career banker by trade, nearly 15 years of experience in banking and financial services, multiple different licenses in the small business space, mortgage lending, life insurance, investment license, etc. I literally help people with the kind of content I put on this channel with these same topics in real life on a daily basis. I have a book of business of consumer clients that is 7 to 8 figures in deposit and investment relationships, small business clients 7 to 8 figures in that relationship book as well. So you're literally dealing with somebody who's not some random YouTube guru, took somebody else's course, picked up a book for a second, piggybacking off other people's channel. You're getting it from somebody who's literally helping people scale their access to the financial system, scale their credit limits, and grow their wealth literally on a daily basis. That is what I do for a living. So like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel, boost the video, support the channel so the channel can continue to support you. Other than that, I want each and every one of you to get in the description section down below. Time on me on Instagram and TikTok. I want you to stay focused, stay in motion, and I'll see y'all soon.